Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. And today I have the Tarot of Curious Creatures on the tarot table because we are going to be looking at something that I find very strange, even unfathomable. And it was summed up inadvertently in an article in the New York Post yesterday. I think it came out yesterday. I'm doing this on a Friday afternoon just for reference if you hit on this reading in future. And it's an article that talks about Meghan is still planning her Hollywood reinvention. And I don't know how many reinventions we've been through so far. We seem to oscillate between influencer and philanthropist, fashion wannabe, and political activist. And it says, that's me, but I'm going to quote now from this article. It says, this is since Invictus Games, since she's done her humanitarian thing in Germany and she's back in California schmoozing with Kevin Costner and all the rest, and then she's popped up in some random photo with some girl who looks suspiciously like the girl that was at Windsor when the Queen died. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. And they're popping up again in New York, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow on a mental health campaign, just suddenly. But back to this article and my puzzlement. It says she has a new team around her, and they've been strategizing about what medium will have the most impact. She, Meghan, wants whatever she does next to be rooted in giving back and philanthropy, and has been in talks with documentary directors and fashion houses. And I have to pause at that point and say, huh? Really? You're covering all your bases there. You're giving back and philanthropy, but you're also doing a bit of documentary making. Oh, and talking to fashion houses. No deals yet. No deals. But talking. And then it carries on. There isn't anything locked in yet. I think we all figured that one out. But the most promising thing seems to be Harry and Meghan highlighting important issues through docuseries and bringing attention and fundraising. So much for separating their brands, and Harry is dragging Meghan back and holding her back and embarrassing with all his whinging and spare and the rest of it. And she's going forward and relaunching herself, and she's going to be on Instagram, and she's going to be signing these deals with Dior and Cartier and all the rest of it. Suddenly, there is nothing. She was also going to be producing all the stuff for Netflix. They've got that film that they're supposed to be doing, but she's got nothing. And so back to Harry, back to showing up with him at the Invictus Games, popping up in New York for some mental health thing. Who is she? What does she believe in? What drives her? Those are the very large questions that I'm asking today with the Tarot of Curious Creatures in a Celtic cross. I want to know. South Park, of course, had that infamous moment at the end of that episode on the Prince and Princess of Canada when the Princess of Canada turned out to be hollow inside, completely empty. So I want to know who she is, what motivates her, what does she believe in, what does she want? Because given the access that she has to the world's most important and influential people, the platforms that she has access to, the control she has. She doesn't like someone on YouTube, she can get that someone shut down. She doesn't like someone on a breakfast television show, she can get him fired. She has enormous power. But what is she using it for? What is she doing? She herself does not seem to know. And I find that personally tragic. To have all that power, all that influence, all that potential, and not to know her own self well enough, my opinion, that she doesn't have a game plan. She just seems to want fame for the sake of fame. And that's a comment on this world that we are in my opinion, that people want fame for the sake of fame. That is, everybody is to some extent, not everybody, but people are increasingly narcissistic and empty shells that just repeat what the current zeitgeist is. And if these cards are hopping, I'm having a little rant. I'm having a rant because there are so many worthy causes that you can embrace in this world. So much she could do that is impactful and genuine, but not doing it. So that's all my opinion, my rant. I'm going to say my usual disclaimer that this is tarot for fun and entertainment. It's all my opinion. It's all speculation, and we read on energy, her archetypal energy, and because it's the royal family, the archetypal family, and disclaimer in the box below, you know the drill. But for the sake of completeness, we're going to have a look and see, and I just need to scooch some cards as ever. I can't see on screen when I'm laying the cards out, and then I have to go and peer in the camera to see what's going on. Very low tech here, as you have probably figured out by now. Very low tech. Anyway, underlying energy, we've got the Knight of Cups in reverse. This is somebody who is unreliable at an emotional level, in the sense of what they offer is not, you can't take it to the bank. When you get the Knight of Cups in a reading, you want that Knight of Cups upright, because that's a reliable energy in terms of what they're offering you emotionally, the connection that they're making with you. You can trust, you can count on it. But when it's in reverse, it's manipulative energy, and it is unreliable, and you don't really know what they want, what their intentions are, where their loyalty lies. That is literally the card that best describes what I'm trying to describe, that I described in that rant. Very interesting. So here we are. We're dealing with precisely that problem. The Knight of Cups in reverse. Who is this person? Can you trust them? When they hold out that bunch of flowers, is there a snake in it? What's the story? I'm talking metaphorically, of course, not literally. So the situation, we're doing this from her point of view and how she sees herself and what she wants. And there is another absolutely fantastically significant card, Seven of Cups. This is somebody who is at this movable feast of options and possibilities, and they can go anywhere and they can try anything, and they've got all the people in place. You want to make a podcast? Here, we'll build a studio at your house so you don't have to travel into LA every day, and we'll hire the best people, the best producers, the best people to do research. We've got this list of celebrities who will be on your podcast. Have a bash. No, it didn't work. You want to produce a rom-com? Okay, here it is. What else do you want to do? Oh, you're going to start a charitable foundation. Here, these are the best lawyers, the best people to do it. It's insane. The options she has, the possibilities she has, endless with that Seven of Cups upright. What is the problem with actually manifesting, making something substantial happen? What is the problem? And we got the Queen of Pentacles, and this is somebody who is very grounded, very solid, the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is the one that she's a hard worker. I'm not saying the other queens don't work hard, but Pentacles always indicates work. You're grounded, you know what you're after, you know who you are, you know what you're capable of. You put your best effort into a situation. This is really about hard work and being stable. It's a Catherine energy. She's worked very hard at a few things. She's perfected those few things. And it turns out she has more skills than we would have thought. Turns out she can play the piano, she can sail, she can do this, she can do that, she can abseil, she can raise children, she can bake cakes. You name it, she does it. She does it because she's practiced doing it, and she's worked hard. She works hard at her own physical health and her appearance, and her everything about her speaks to discipline and diligence, and that is the Queen of Pentacles. So you can have all the opportunity in the world, but if you don't wake up every morning with a clear head because you haven't gone to bed 3 a.m. with a bottle of wine, sort of clunk in your bed, you've got to be focused, you've got to be clear, you've got to be grounded, you've got to be committed, and you've got to be even-tempered and just disciplined. This is the day of ranting, clearly. I don't really quite know why even. What's her motive? What drives her? What really does she want to be? That, unfortunately, is the Diana card. She wants to be Queen of Cups. She wants to be the Queen of Hearts. She wants people to love her, to adore her. She wants screaming crowds wherever she goes. This is my interpretation of the energy, my puzzlement over this woman and why she has so much potential and yet has signally failed to achieve anything. And I will be told off for this. And yes, she's published a best-selling book and she's produced a best-selling docuseries for Netflix, but they're all puff. They're hollow, really. I'm talking about legacy here. I'm talking about how she will be viewed in 70 years' time. That's a very obvious number referring to the late Queen, another Queen of Pentacles. So she wants to be Queen of Cups. That's her drive. That's what motivates her. She wants to be like Diana. She wants to be adored. She wants to be loved. She wants people to weep at her grave, flowers strewn outside the gates of Kensington Palace, all of that kind of stuff. And we see it here with the Knight of Cups in reverse. This is the underlying energy. This is emotional connection, but when it's in the reverse, you're not sure what you're dealing with here. What is her focus? What does she want out of life? We've got the Ace of Swords in reverse, and that's such a strange energy. And as I say, I'm puzzled by this woman. I'm baffled. That's why I do tarot here. I'm puzzled. Ace of Swords in reverse is somebody who wants to get out of some kind of predicament, some kind of trap. Somebody who needs vision. The Eight of Swords is very much about vision. Can you see beyond your limited little world where you feel trapped and stuck? And really, she wants vision, but she doesn't know what that vision has to be. Lacking vision. Eight of Swords. Lacking vision. In reverse, she's scratching around. She's looking around. She latches on to people. She latched on to Kim Kardashian. We'll see a bit of that. She latched on to Gloria Steinem. She's latched on to the Diana thing. Who else has she latched on to? Plenty. In her time on this planet, all 42 years of it. By now, she should have a very clear idea of who she is. We should be able to say Meghan Markle means such and such. Very clear. And I'm not a marketing expert. By no means. It's something I know almost nothing about. But even I can tell that by 42, you should be able to say such and such's name, and that's what they stand for. Whereas she, what does she stand for? How has her past been in this sense? King of Pentacles in reverse. That is Harry. That is also men. Generally, it's a very archetypal card, and as I say, we read archetypal energy here. It's very archetypal for men in the sense of husbands, fathers, men with money, people who can open doors for you, who are powerful, influential because of their money, because of their own accomplishments. Her success in life, and this is traceable and verifiable, is thanks to the men that she has connected with in her life, starting with her father, who is very well connected, moving on to her husband, moving on to people like possibly Marcus Anderson, who was very well connected in Soho House, moving on to Harry, and so on and so on and so on. Her past successes have been thanks to the men in her life, and she can't deny that. What's coming next? What version of Meghan are we going to be seeing in future? The philanthropist, the fashion forward, whatever. Eight of Wands. We're not getting any success with the Eight of Wands in the reverse. This is a block. And I've read on the Instagram thing and seen that might not happen. Recent readings, there's, what did this article say? Something about there isn't anything locked in yet. This is my piece of paper I'm shuffling around. There isn't anything locked in yet, and there isn't going to be anything locked in the coming days with that Eight of Wands in reverse. Her path is blocked, and her path is blocked. If you're into manifesting and stuff like that, yes, you can manifest a wealthy man quite easily if you're really very motivated by things like that. King of Pentacles in reverse, absolutely. But to actually manifest something in terms of your own accomplishments, you have to know who you are and what you want in order to manifest them. And her path is blocked because, in my opinion, she does not know who she is and what she truly wants. She doesn't have the vision. Eight of Swords. How does she view herself? How does she view herself? Wow. That's a crisis. This isn't a light-hearted, silly reading or situation that we're dealing with at this point. The Tower is an absolute crisis. This is a very critical moment in her life. And the age she's going through a very powerful transit with the planet Uranus, which is, for me, the Tower. A lot of people say it's a Scorpio card. I don't see that. I see it as the planet of shocks, dramatic changes, sudden illumination, and turning points. Absolute turning points in one's life that come out of the blue like a bolt of lightning. That is what the Tower is about. And anything that is not built on firm foundations collapses under that shocking energy when you can no longer hide from who you really are. And this is what is going on for her in her life right now. She has no clear sense of herself. And so everything is collapsing. Everything that she tries fails, and it's failing very publicly. We're all watching and we're all fascinated by it because, as I keep saying, she has all this potential. The Seven of Cups there. All she has to do is apply herself. And yet we have the Tower as how she, according to this energy that I am interpreting, how she sees herself is in this moment of catastrophe and crisis where her world is falling apart. And future energy that I look at in her chart, in her tarot, not her charts, I'm doing tarot now, not astrology, shows this crisis point. I did a reading recently on the State of the Union and what might be coming their way according to the tarot, and it's this kind of energy. What pressure is she under? Sorry, this is turning into a 5-hour reading. What pressure is she under? The High Priestess. Literally such a good answer from tarot, from the universe. It's the card of your intuition. Being tapped in to the spirit world, and not in a pretend way. Pretend talking to Mummy Diana, in a genuine way. That comes from listening to guidance from whatever medium you choose. And she's talking about media in this article. Is it going to be film, magazine, Instagram? Where's it going to be? This is learning to communicate with the divine through prayer, through tarot, through meditation, whatever vehicle you want to choose. There are some that Harry prefers, the medicine, the plant medicine route, whatever it is. Getting in touch with your intuition, with guidance, with the spirit world, with the universe, God, whatever, creator, whatever you want to call it, great spirit. There it is. And her pressure is that she's not tapped in. Her hopes and fears. This, as South Park put it, this empty vessel, her hopes and fears. She wants to be the center of attention, Queen of Wands. That is her. That's the Leo lady. Very dramatic, very attractive, very powerful, very charismatic. She wants to be that. And she could be that. She could be that if she just applied herself a bit and if she did the work that is required to get to that energy. But that is what she hopes for. That is what she hopes for. How is she going to be remembered? This is a very long in the future, 70 years. What are people going to think? When they say Meghan Markle, what are they going to think when they look back? My goodness. That's chilling. A death card. The death card. That really is chilling. And of course I have to defend myself as a tarot reader and say, I'm just reading tarot. The death card is really horrifying. It's endings and change, transformation. She's an agent of change and transformation, whether she likes it or not. And that is why, again, I do tarot on this woman and the rest of the royals as well. And many other people do, and many other people look at this situation through various different lenses, to use a term that Megan likes to use. We get body language, we get fashion, we get psychological analysis, all kinds of things. Everyone piles in, because this is a meta story, really. And death is, when you talk about powerful cards in the tarot, in the major arcana, death, you know, pretty much the winner, in a negative sense, because no one escapes death. No one emerges from this life unscathed. We all change. We all have to deal with things in our lives that are radical and transformative. Making up a word, I think. But things end, things change. You can't resist it, and eventually the ultimate change and ending is death. And I don't mean she's going to be looked back at and people say, oh, that one, so much death around her. I don't mean it literally. I mean it in the sense of things that changed while she was around. And that is, the royal family is going through radical changes while she's around. Be remembered. The Queen passed away, Prince Philip passed away, Charles became king. The royal family is going through a very radical reshaping while she's around. Not necessarily because of, but her path is somehow parallel to this radical transformation. The world is changing. Our view of the world is changing. Our view of our purpose, our view of who we trust, what the media is, what politicians are all about. It's all changing. And she somehow is knitted into that story, that narrative, and that's why we watch this. That's why we are fascinated by it. We're not doing this out of hatred and sort of schadenfreude and things like that. It's genuinely, we're watching a meta story here, an archetypal story. And this is the energy when people ask, who was she? What did she represent? They're going to say she represented endings and change, and very difficult endings and very difficult change. And when you go into a death process, you don't know what's on the other side. None of us know what's on the other side. And we're in that place in the world right now where everything is changing and nobody knows what the future is going to bring. We try and look. We look through things like tarot and astrology and psychics and whatever else. But nobody really knows. And that is your reading. Long and strange reading, but thank you for sticking with me. If you've made it this far, I do appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one.